Hello, everyone. Oh, it's a clicker. So thanks for joining me in this very, very warm room today. I'm Lucy, and I lead global content and marketing operations for pet nutrition. And we're in the business of making tails wag and growing brands. And I'm here today just to shine a light on a topic a lot of marketeers overlook. It's a hidden cost that's quietly eating away at your effectiveness. But first, just a little bit about me. So by day, I work in the fast-paced, occasionally chaotic, but always rewarding world of pet care marketing. And I get to do it in one of the most emotionally charged categories out there. And yes, sometimes the talent do eat the props on shoots. And when we say Mars, not many people realize that we have a large pet care business. So when we say Mars, you probably think about chocolate. But 60% of our business is made up of these pet care brands. And for the last 7 years, I've had the pleasure of working with pretty much every single one of these brands, which I'm sure a lot of you will recognize. And at Mars, we actually serve 50% of the pet population. And we celebrate pets every single day. And we live by one bold ambition, and that is to make a better world for pets. And that's not just like a statement stuck on the wall. That's our creative North Star, and it guides everything that we do. But here's the challenge. Even in a category as joyful, loved, and as playful as ours, we're not immune to one of the biggest threats to marketing today, the dull tax. And I'm going to come on to talk a little bit more about what the dull tax is. But whilst my role might sound quite operational, it is, spoiler alert, as a marketing operations team, we're often the bridge between bold ideas from our brand teams and execution. And my team are on a mission to unlock the chaos and streamline that chaos and really allow our brands to sort of build bolder ideas and distinctive content. So, creativity is more important than ever, and I'm sure you've heard that lots and lots over the last week. But as much as 50% of media performance is driven by the creative itself. So, why is creativity so hard to break through today, though? So, people are overwhelmed by the sheer amount of content that they're seeing on a daily basis. So, on average, you're exposed to 10,000 ads per day. So, I mean, that's a massive amount of content that you're seeing daily. And people are honestly, they're overwhelmed. There's huge media fragmentation. So the amount of channels that we're using has increased by 50% since 2015. So we're spread across more platforms more than ever. And it's really, really hard for brands to actually reach you with content. And the change in those models has also resulted in the rise of ad-free media spaces. So that creates huge blind spots from a brand perspective. And the creative itself has become even more critical to break through. And if on top of that, we're living in a politically charged landscape. So many brands have retreated actually from taking some of the creative risks that they might once have done. And every year, brands spend absolutely billions on creative, but most of it doesn't work. And that's not because it's bad. It's because it's boring. So the dull tax, I can't take any credit for that phrase. That was one that was coined by Contagious. But essentially, it's a phrase to talk about the hidden cost of producing unmemorable and ineffective content. And I just want to ground us in a bit of research. So System 1 ran an experiment. Some of you might have seen this before. It's a really, really good experiment. But essentially, they created a 30-second fake ad of cows. So no music, no branding, no storyline, just literally cows eating grass. And the surprising thing, they actually tested this ad against all of the ads that they have in their system. And the shocking fact was that 50% of real ads, so media-backed, client-approved ads, performed the same or worse than this ad. So literally, half of the ads that we're putting out in the world are performing worse than cows eating grass, which is just quite amazing. And so the dull tax is real. It's a real cost, and it's hiding in plain sight. And dull isn't actually just neutral. It's a liability. It costs your brand a lot of money. And so it's quietly draining sort of your brand every day. And I had a bit of a play around with AI here. So this is fictional, but just to kind of demonstrate the point. So this shows a very, very sad but true picture. In a world of 1.3 decisions, dull ads don't even get seen. So that's complete wasted exposure for your brand. And safe work is forgettable work, so therefore you've got missed fame opportunities and ineffective impressions. Beige work does not go viral. And so it leads to, and a lot of this just leads to, if we look at short-termism, for example, we're often chasing quarterly KPIs, and when we do that, it means that we lead to very, very safe work. So this is the dull tax. This is what you pay when your creative gets ignored, when it doesn't stop the scroll. And in the real world, creativity is the biggest amplifier of effectiveness. But in the real world, a lot of content isn't getting noticed, and it isn't getting remembered. But not everybody is getting it wrong. So I just chose someone here. So these are 12 of the campaigns over the last year that I think I really, really like anyway. And they've all won Cannes or FE, like Grand Awards, so for their effectiveness. And I just want to talk to a few of them. So if we take Michael CeraVe, so I'm sure everybody saw this at Super Bowl last year. I love this campaign. But it was, for those that haven't, it was a rumor that Michael Cera was behind the CeraVe skin brand. And so instead of the brand ignoring that, they took that rumor, they fueled it on social, and they actually built legacy around it. So they built into the conspiracy, and they built content behind it. And the lesson here really is that great creative doesn't have to create culture. It just needs to be able to respond to it. And fame ideas are disproportionately driving effectiveness. And just another one on here, but it has to be behind. So, this isn't a new campaign, right? This is brand consistency. It's something that's been built over decades. The line, it has to be behind, it's short, it's emotional, it's rememberable, and it's distinctiveness. And this just means that fluency and distinctiveness, they pay off over time. So what makes all of these ideas, what do they all have in common, and what do we want to do from a great creative perspective? So the ideas are novel, they're original, they're engaging, they have distinctive assets that evoke the memory of the brand, and they're just great. But sounds easy, right? But where does it break? So most dull creative doesn't happen by mistake. It isn't because of a lack of care or a lack of talent. It happens despite best intentions. And that's because the system we operate in, especially in a large organization like ours, is optimized for risk avoidance and not originality. And there are 4 key challenges really that we face, particularly in a large organization. So one is organizational complexity. So too many layers of approvals, over-engineered localization, and we become risk-averse in a sense. And this just creates a perfect storm for safe, forgettable content. And the biggest barrier to effectiveness is not actually the ideas. We can come up with lots of great ideas. It's the process that then dilutes it. Secondly, we're in a world where we're under massive pressure to do more with less. So budgets are tighter, deadlines are shorter, and AI promises faster turnarounds for us. But the unintended result, we play it safe. And Mark Ritson actually calls this the efficiency addiction. And honestly, working in an operational role, I can definitely sympathize with that one. And the final one is that we're not moving at the speed of culture, right? So creativity today requires us to be nimble. We need to be fast. And if we don't respond to local insights and local trends, we will fall behind. So this is probably what you want to know. So we're not immune to this at Mars. And over the last 18 months, we've been working on this. So what have we done? So we've partnered with our agency networks, with Cannes Lion, and we've come up with a clear framework. So we've called it the Stairway to Creative Excellence. And it's more than just a program. This is a creative ambition for our brands to get behind. And I say everybody because it's not just aimed at marketing. This is aimed at upskilling the entire business. But what does that cover? So step number 1 is building a culture of creativity. So we're instilling a culture that champions creativity, where informed risk-taking is celebrated. And ideas are rooted in real pet parent insights. So pet parents is what we call pet owners at Mars, and everything we do must be rooted in pet parent insights. We talk about being risk-thoughtful versus being risk-averse. Secondly, creativity doesn't happen by chance. So we've taken a look at our processes, and last year we actually launched what we call our Creative Council. So it was our first one last year, and this was a moment in time within the creative planning process for us all to get together. So think creative directors, our internal teams, our agency partners, to come together to shape and to discuss ideas. And that collaboration actually generated 45 ideas for us last year, 20 of which I'm pleased to say are in market now. And on top of this, we've been looking at capability building. So this is all great, but if you don't have the right tools and the skills for your business to be able to deliver it, it's no good. So we're equipping our teams with the tools they need. So think about things like one-line briefs, masterclasses, just so that we can make excellence every day, not just an aspiration, but achievable every day. And underpinning all of this is a creative measurement program, because all of this is great, but if you can't actually measure the success of it, it's quite pointless. So we've been partnering with various different effectiveness companies, companies like CreativeX, for example, and we've launched a full Fit for Platform program where we can really, really dig into what's working, what's not. And I just wanted to give you an example of what that looks like then. So how is that shaped up? So this is our campaign. This was one from Australia recently. It's a great example of this. It's a bit of a risk that we took. You'll see that the message is intentionally provocative, but this was really, really rooted in a piece of insight. So 15% of Aussies have say that they don't like cats, but 74% of them have never actually even lived with one. And on top of that, we saw some research that 39,000 cats were in shelters and were waiting to be rehomed. So we saw this as a real opportunity to drive adoption. So we launched with this. We launched this on billboards, on social, out of home, and it was meant to be, intentionally provocative. And this is a risk, right, from our point of view. So it caused controversy. Big reveal, we're not cat haters. We love cats at Mars. But this was a call to action, and it was around a program of, where we had basically 2 weeks to foster a cat and see if we could change the perception of them. And so we partnered with TikTok on creator content and really targeted people who were cat skeptics. And this was hugely successful for us. So this actually got huge reach of 40 million for us, which is interestingly twice the size of the population of Australia. But more importantly, cat adoption requests were up 200%. So, taking that risk, creative bravery with a cultural insight can really drive some real world impact. And I'm just going to show you one more example. So this one is just another example that we're really, really proud of. But this was from our Creative Council also last year. And this program was with the Pedigree team. And it took a real local insight. And it's about a mixed breed dog. But I'll play it for you.
This isn't just any old dog. It's a caramelo, Brazil's favorite dog. The star of memes, videos, songs, even a petition to feature it on our money. Despite all that, Brazil's most popular breed isn't officially a breed. The caramelo is considered a vira-lata, a mutt. That's why it's by far the most common dog in Brazilian shelters. A lot less likely to be adopted than purebreds. So, if what they lack is a pedigree, who better to give it to them than Pedigree? Introducing Pedigree Caramelo, an initiative to give caramelos everything the so-called purebreds have. We started by asking a Brazilian superstar to enter her caramelo in a dog show. We knew her dog would be rejected, and that her outrage would break into the culture. And of course, it did. That's when Pedigree joined in, officially launching the project and everything we were about to do for the caramelos. Like the biggest canine genetic research on a mutt in history, diving deep into the caramelo's DNA. The first official Caramelo Kennel Club, issuing DNA-based pedigree certificates. Also the biggest kennel club in Latin America. Then the Caramelo Show, a dog show dedicated to caramelos, with a huge adoption fair for now certified pedigree caramelos. And our new packaging featuring, for the first time ever, a mixed breed dog. The response was overwhelming. Not only did people side with us, but also the world's largest purebred dog organization, the FCI, which announced that from now on, caramelos would be allowed in their shows. And that's not all. We turned the most common mutt into the most adopted breed in Brazil.
So this is really transforming not only the way people will see caramelos in Brazil, but also the way we approach brand building for pedigree in Brazil and all over the world.
And that's how we became Pedigree, the official food of the caramelo.
So hopefully that's just given you a little bit of insight to some of the focus we're putting behind creative excellence at Mars. The dull tax is real, and you will pay it unless you embrace bold, community-rooted, emotionally smart creative. And when budgets get tight, the question shouldn't be, can we afford this risk? It should be, can we afford not to? So let's ditch the dull. Let's make work that moves people. And because in pet care, if we can't make people feel something, then we're doing it wrong. And if we get it right, we don't just sell a little more pet food, but we make the world a little bit warmer and a little bit less like cows eating grass. So thank you.